This is David Harper with Multiversity Comics. I'm here with Fred Van Lente at New York Comic Con. How is your con going so far?
It's awesome. This is my busiest con so far, and New York Comic Con is always my busiest con of the year, so this is kind of saying something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of seeing time right now and vapors and hearing voices, but I think that just means I'm still alive.
I should probably mention that this is Sunday, so this is the bitter end.
Yes. In some cases, the very bitter end. But no, I've had an absolutely wonderful con. You know, it's my hometown show, so it's totally awesome. They treat me great. They always treat me and Ryan great here when we're pushing our creator-owned stuff. And there's always great announcements, so it's been super awesome.
Well, first off, let's talk about one of your big announcements from this con. There was the big, dynamite teasers that are coming out,
Right.
and it turns out that you're actually going to be helping revive Gold Key Comics. You're going to be doing Magnus Robot Fighter with Corey Smith.
Yes.
What can you tell me about this book?
I'm super excited. I mean, this really has turned into one of my all-time favorite projects. You know, we've been working on it for a couple months now.
Ooh, sneaky.
Yeah, and basically, Magnus is a human trained by a robot to go into a world where robots have completely dominated humanity and basically free humanity from robot kind. The problem is that once he's introduced into society, because of technology, it's very difficult to tell robots from humans, and a lot of humans like, being dependent on robots. So it's a science fiction action adventure story in which the main character is, some perceive him as a terrorist, some see him as a freedom fighter,
Right.
and it's incorporating a lot of advances in computer science and robotics that really have advanced even when Valiant originally did the Magnus comics in the early 90s. And it's been super awesome working with, Corey Smith is going to blow up. He's going to be a superstar because of this book. I mean, his designs are just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And we're incorporating all sorts of different kinds of robots, and it's just so visually interesting. North Am, which is the city where Magnus takes place, is sort of the opposite of what it was in the original series, and then it's a very contained city where it's sort of if robots sort of redesigned North America and they took out all the boring stuff. So there's no flyover country. There's all, you see the St. Louis Arch in the distance, and over there's the Statue of Liberty. I like to say it's to what the New York Casino is to New York in Las Vegas. That's what North Am is the entire continent. And so
I was going to say it pretty much sounded like Vegas to me.
yeah, exactly. It's like exactly. It's like living in Perma Vegas, and it's just a really unique story and super exciting.
Yeah. Well, one thing it's a book that's come back a number of times since
Yes.
Gold Key. It's been revitalized. What is it that you guys are bringing to the book that's different besides Perma Vegas, obviously?
Well, to me, fundamentally, there are a couple things. One of which is that the robots actually have their own religion based on the singularity, which is the fusion of humans and technology that's been predicted. Some say it in 2045. In our book, that's already happened, and the singularity has actually left the planet. And so there's a religion built, and these are the machines that were left behind. So it's almost like, the previous machines got raptured,
Yeah.
right? So the robot religion, exactly. They woke up one morning and they were gone. And so the robots, their religion is to emulate humanity as much as possible. And so 1A. Magnus's Robot Fighter is very much against that, but the problem is that Magnus doesn't know whether or not he's against that. So, and Magnus, I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say he's the robot fighting part is not necessarily entirely voluntary.
All right, well, let's jump into Archer Armstrong. This book is, to put it nicely, is my jam. I love this book.
Awesome.
It is totally awesome. Sex Civil War just started.
Yes.
You got Kari Evans on the book, and he is kicking ass with, and you had Michael Walsh doing the designs for like the Black Block, his She Eaters, and everything like that. What can you tell us about this arc? What is this book doing right now besides Rock My World?
Well, a lot of people say, this didn't occur to me, but it's true. It's a great jumping on point for new readers. It sort of lays out the idea of the series and then kind of screws with it a little in that. For a whole year, season 1 essentially of Archer Armstrong had been the two mismatched conspiracy busters fighting the Sect, which is sort of a United Nations of secret societies and illuminated organizations that run the world. Yeah, they've done such a good job, in fact, that now the factions are fighting with each other, and that hence the Civil War part. And so The problem is that since they're running the world, when no one's minding the store, the wheels are going to start to come off global society. And so the irony of it all is Archer and Armstrong, who've been fighting the sect for an entire year, may have to actually try to put the sect back together again in order to save the world. So it's a different kind of conspiracy forward story. There's the satire, there's global adventure, there's historical mysteries that they have to unsolve. It's just a lot of fun. And the next issue, 15, is one of my favorite standalones. It answers the burning question of what happens when you give an alcoholic a time machine. And Armstrong and his brother Ivar, who's a time traveler, drink their way through history to recover from the events of the previous arc. So it's and Kari's just killing it on that one. As good as 14 was, 15 is better.
That's amazing. Well, it's a very funny book. I mean, your books often are, but this one is just really, really, hitting my funny bone. And I like in the previous arc, or previous issue, I love the scroll smarts line. It was just super random where I don't know. Anyways.
Yes, scroll smarts.
Scroll smarts.
I thought you said skull smarts, and I was like.
Scroll smarts, yeah. Yeah, I love that line. I thought it was just brilliant. But one of the interesting things you did like a sneaky turn on us where we didn't realize how much we cared about those characters until Armstrong just, kind of screwed over Archer. Like, how do you like build those characters in such a way that like gets us so invested that when you drop the hammer, it kills us?
I don't know. It's a combination of action and character. I just do it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain the process. It definitely helps to have opposites, right? It's by seeing how we're different, we can see how we're similar, and then sort of contrast kind of bump up against each other. That's what this means, by the way. But yeah, I mean, obviously a large bulk of the credit has to go to Barry Windsor Smith, who created them in the first place, and just created these two great sort of archetypes. I'm glad you're digging it. I'm glad people are digging it. I'm having a great time doing it.
For you as a writer, how thrilling is it to have artists like you've had Clayton Henry, Emmanuel Lupacchino, Perez. He is awesome. I'd never actually seen his work before, but man, he's crushed it on the book. And Kari, I mean, how thrilling is it for you to work with artists of that caliber?
Valiant does a great job of finding terrific talent and then sort of holding on to them and kind of mixing and matching, because obviously Kari started out doing Harbinger. Emanuela is now doing Bloodshot. Clayton is now doing Harbinger. And it's just a great team, and we all sort of pull together, and it's really a great environment to work in.
Yeah. All right. Well, last question for you. What else you got coming down the path? I know you're also working on Mocking Dead. What else is going on in the Fred Van Lente world?
What I'm super excited about, the other announcement that was really exciting this weekend was I'm taking over Conan the Barbarian from Brian Wood, starting with issue 26. So Brian is wrapping up his Queen of the Black Coast story arc, and then I'll be jumping right on dealing with the tragic ramifications of that. Spoiler alerts for a story that was published in 1934.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Fred. I really appreciate it. And everybody, read his work. He's a great writer. Thanks.
Please. My children need wine. That's a Simpsons.